Let's take a look at stocks reporting earnings the last week of October, starting with Monday, October 27th. So we're going to dive right in on the charts. I'll mention any setups or analysis that I think looks interesting and go from there. So if you're new here, I'm Hima Reddy. I use price action, market timing, and momentum to boost my trading and that of our tribes. So the first ticker I have here from the S&P 500 components is RVTY. Now again, I'm not really going to comment on every single chart, only if it's doing something technically interesting. Now this one, I will say, has been recovering higher, but within the context of the bear zones of the RSI Power Zones, my favorite momentum indicator, dominating the action. So I don't think there's much room for upside here unless we get a close above the high from July 25th at 104.41. Similar thing on Keurig, all right? Ticker KDP. We have recovery, but look, back to the bear resistance power zone. So not looking great for this stock, probably headed lower, depending on how earnings unfold. Now, CDNS Cadence Design Systems, they have been basically pulling back off this double top, okay? But within the context of a bigger picture uptrend from early April, like many stocks. So I think that you have to really watch the nearby resistance around 355. If it gets above that, then a journey back to 375 would be on deck and potentially new highs from there. But if we don't see that clearance here, then I think there's not only room to get back to the 315 area, but even further down below to even 290, okay? Now, ticker WELL Welltower is basically on its way higher. I don't see a setup at the moment, but I want to bring your attention to how beautifully it held the bull support power zone. That's the thing, is that when a market's trending higher, it will generally find support in bull support. That's why I named it that. Now, ticker PFG, Principal Financial Group. It has been recovering like slow and choppy since April, again, like many stocks, but it hasn't yet recovered beyond its March high. So what it's offering right now is another room for a leg higher. And I think that one might take us into the $89, $90 area and do so over the next couple months. All right, this ticker, NUE, Nucorp, I think it's in a great position to kind of watch the boundaries. So when you look at stocks that are consolidating, you can always monitor the edges and determine what is that resistance level that we need to get above to get to the next step, to go to new highs, right? To reach new targets. This works in consolidations after a longer correction or even brief ones. So I think if we can close this gap that came in from September 17th, that'll be a good sign for the stock. You got to see it close above that day, and that would bring us back towards 150 and beyond. Waste Management, ticker WM, has been seeing a continued downtrend, still staying in those bearish zones on the RSI Power Zones, so it's not looking good. I think it has room to drop further. And last but not least, ticker BRO, Brown & Brown. This one is also in a downtrend, but notice that it actually recently put in a pattern. So that's the thing about the RSI Power Zones and looking at momentum. If you understand the full range of signals and patterns, you can find opportunities where you can actually calculate upside and downside targets. And there was one back here from October 8th compared to August 20th. My 4 zones RSI covered students, you know how to do that math. And I want you to do that as a little homework and see if we hit the target. I think we did, so keep an eye out. All right, that takes us to October 27th. I'll keep doing these earnings updates for you, looking at what's interesting going on in price action, market timing, and momentum. If you're finding value in this series, I just completed my first week. Woohoo! Please drop a like down below. I need to see lots of those to know this is something you want so I can keep going with it, all right? And we're going to mix it up, right? When it's not earnings season, I'll still do these market update videos, but I'm taking advantage of the fact that it's earnings seasons, which, especially with the government shutdown, this is the fuel to add to the fire of stocks moving. So we'll see how it continues to unfold, and I'll catch you in the next video.